John Fredericks, America's Godzilla of truth, popular and proficient in picking politics with prophetic precision. And now Jay Fred's picking football.
Are y'all ready for this?
All across the airwaves and streams of the John Fredericks Media Network. Brought to you by DraftKings.com. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla wins. Your guide to picking football winners. With America's Godzilla of truth, John Fredericks. Brought to you by DraftKings. Go to DraftKings.com. Promo code Godzilla for the best money and betting giveaways in America. Before you make that play, hear what J. Fred has to say. Godzilla wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Oh yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
Folks, welcome to Live Godzilla Wins. Great to have you with us. We are ready to go on week 4, what our first 3 weeks has been. Thanks for joining us on our radio network and our John Fredericks radio app and all the apps that we have. Now, we're not on Getter Live today because of the storm. My studio here in Woke County, we got locked out, unbeknownst to me. So when I got here, the building is closed. Of course, Woke County is inland. It's by Raleigh, so there's no storm. There's a rainstorm. But, of course, living in Woke County, they lock things down because they can. So I get here and I can't get in. So we don't have Getter Live. We don't have the video set up, but we'll get to that next week. Great to have you with us. My 2 boys are here. My oldest son, Jack Fredericks, he's live on Sunday, as you know, at the Jackpot Casino in Tunica, Mississippi. And lest we forget, my surrogate son, Nate. And by the way, guys, we're having our first Godzilla Wins board meeting in Nashville when Dallas comes to the Titans. Nate's now part of the family. And Nate's live Sunday at the Cal Nev Casino in Reno, Nevada. So it's all good. Guys, before we get started here with our football picks, I want to talk about the Tua situation, why he was in the game on 4 days rest. Remember, he got knocked down. I thought there were NFL concussion protocols. Remember when he was walking back to the huddle after that, he just fell down. And then that horrific scene on Thursday night, I wasn't watching it live. I had gone to bed, but I since saw the replays. I mean, you couldn't even watch it. And you got to ask yourself, what were the Dolphins doing? I'm going to start with Nate here. I mean, what was that? Like, why was he playing?
I mean, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, I was angry about it when I knew that he was going to play on Thursday. I was angry about it after he went into the game on Sunday, and I was angry about it afterwards. It's just crazy that they allowed him back in. To say it's a back injury is just the ultimate cop-out, and it's the ultimate NFL, just win-at-all-costs thing. I mean, it's anyone that watched the game on Sunday like I did knew that he was concussed at that moment. I mean, that's not a back injury. You don't sit up, shake your head, grab your face mask, try and get yourself together, and then have your knees buckle because your back is injured. I know that his back is injured. It's been injured since basically the beginning of the season. He has fractures in like 4 vertebrae, I think, is what I read. But that wasn't a back injury. It was a head injury. And to have him play out there is just criminally negligent. I mean, it puts his whole career at risk, and somebody needed to have stepped up and said, we can't have that. And they didn't do it. And it's a shame for him. It's a blight on their organization. It's a blight on what was a pretty good season before this.
What do you think, Jack?
Tua, you can't put the blame on Tua because you know that he wants to play. So you're in a position where somebody has to be the adult in the room. The Dolphins are rolling. They're coming into a huge Thursday night game. And it seems like they overlooked it. You would think the NFL would have different protocols put in place to keep these guys safe so that when a team does make a bad decision like this and say, no, it's a vertebrae injury that wasn't a concussion, that the NFL can step in and say, hey, listen, we're going to get a mediator in here to make sure that this is true because we don't trust you because you want to win a big game on Thursday night and your quarterback is the one who's going to deliver you that win. But it's horrible because now everybody on Thursday night is watching this incredibly gruesome concussion, watching a rising star in the game get carted off the field, I mean, it was horrible. It's just it's not where football is anymore. It's where football was 20 years ago. And I remember seeing that over and over again when I was younger, but we don't do that anymore. And so we have to be better.
Well, watching his hand curl up like a claw, which I'm not a doctor, but I've been reading that's the number one thing of what happens with a concussion when your brain cells go out of whack. I mean, that was as bad as, I'm older than you guys. So I watched the Monday night game where Theismann got his leg taken off by Lawrence Taylor. I mean, it just came off or something. I mean, that was like, back then it was like, oh my God, what is this? And so that I thought was as gripping of a scene, but you got to blame the Dolphins here. I mean, you can blame the NFL all you want, but he works for the Miami Dolphins. That they signed his paycheck. I just got to blame the Dolphins there, and it was just horrible. Now I understand he's okay. That's what I understand. That he said he was okay, but who knows? But guys, that's got to stop. And even for the Dolphins to make this decision, it's like one game, right? Who cares, right? You got to the playoffs. So why would you put yourself in this position is beyond me.
Yeah.
So
it's one game with 4 days rest. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, that was the other thing. It would be different if it was a playoff game or something in a month. You might think about it, but it was to me it was a meaningless game on a Thursday night. Like, who cares?
Well, and there is no, like, it doesn't matter if it's a Super Bowl. Like, if the guy is playing with a concussion, we don't do that anymore. We don't let someone trot out there and get hit a million times so that they are at risk for the rest of their lives. So it just, we just have to prioritize player safety.
Yep. Horrible. All right, let's get to the games. And, look, after that, I didn't even care what the outcome was. I just couldn't believe it. I just thought it was horrible. So let's get to let's get to the games here. And let's start with the London game. I have never won a London game in my life. I think I'm over. How long have they been playing there? 7 years. I think I'm over 7. The games are always tough. I think they start at 9:30 a.m. But before we get to that, can I just rant on one thing, guys? And maybe you can help me. Football, I used to be able to turn the TV on and get games. And now it's like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, like Thursday night game is on like some kind of Amazon Prime platform. I'm trying to get a baseball game the other day on a Monday or a Sunday or whatever night it was. It was on some platform I never heard of, iPhones or iTunes. I just want to watch a ball game. I don't know how to get to Amazon Prime. I don't even know what that is. Like, if Joe's not home, I can't watch half these games. Now, I'm figuring what game is the 9:30 game on? I'm sure it's not on regular TV. So what is that on? Like Netflix or iTunes or YouTube, or where do you get this game?
That's a good question. I think it's going to be on regular TV. I think it's on NFL. Yeah, it's not on regular TV. It's on the NFL Network, so you'll get it.
I mean, am I right or is it just because of my age? Right? What is with these platforms? What the hell is Amazon TV? I just want to turn the TV on. I want to get the clicker and turn on the game. That's it. I got to change from one remote to the other remote, and then get the app, and then put the code in, and I don't even know how to do that. I mean, I'm telling you, when my son goes to college, I'll never be able to watch a football game again. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And then I don't know how to get it back. And then Anna's like, I can't get the regular TV. Joe's out working out. We're like, well, we'll have to turn the radio on, or like talk to each other, because I can't figure it out. Unbelievable. All right, that was my rant here. Let's
get. It might be a good thing if you watch less football since you can't handicap any of these games.
Oh, let's not go there. You know what? I had a winning week last week. I just got a break. I got a winning week, and now I'm going to start. I'm going to start a roll. Okay. Anyway, let's get to the London games. Vikings at Saints. Saints 3.5-point underdog in London. Look, guys, I'm just going to start here. I like the Vikings, and simply why? They manage football games. Like, they beat the teams they should beat. They get beat by the teams that they shouldn't beat. They go 10-7. They make the playoffs. They just manage games. The Saints just aren't that good. They have no offense. So I like Minnesota minus the 3.5 in London. Jack?
Yeah, if you go to GodzillaWins.com, you can read our parlays column from last week where we advised you to hammer the Vikings at -1 last week. So keep a lookout for stuff like that, because we look at these lines sometimes 2 weeks ahead, just because you can catch a better point spread before the games, and then everybody reacts and the line moves in a major way. So Nate has the Vikings at -1. I like him at -1. I like him at 3.5. Mostly because I don't think the Saints are very good. I think they could be 0-3. I think Jameis Winston is hurt. He's also working with some back injuries.
Wait a minute. Where do you get a line at -1?
DraftKings
has got a minus 3.5.
Yeah, Nate. We told everyone to bet it last week before the games. I mean,
oh, okay.
It was at -1 last week.
I got
so that's
you.
what
Okay.
we're saying. You know, you can
Right.
you can look at these games a week out and find a better spread if you know kind of how the games are going to go before they play.
Right.
For the previous week, but yeah. So I like the Vikings -1. I like them -3.5. It doesn't really matter, just because I don't think the Saints are any good. Jameis Winston's playing through an injury. I just think the Vikings probably win by a touchdown.
Nate?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. I mean, yeah. So we wrote it up last week before all the games started. We were looking ahead to this week, and we got the Vikings -1, and I still like it at -3. I mean, the Vikings have been sort of mercurial, I guess. You know, they've been great at times. They've been bad at times, but the ultimate reality is that Jameis isn't great at quarterback right now. He's still injured. He might not play this week. I just think there's too many unknowns to want to be on the Saints. I think the Vikings are still to play, just because they're a better team. So, you know, the better team generally wins in these London games. You don't see a ton of upsets. I think Vikings are definitely the way to go here.
Okay, so we all like the Vikings. By the way, Smooth Al, that's running our show today, he weighed in on text, Al. You can open your mic. He says having to do with the TV and the remotes, he says, you're right. I can't figure it out either. So thanks, Al, for backing me up on that. Okay, Bills at Ravens. Bills losing last week after they looked unbeatable, like they were going to go 17-0. They didn't look that good last week. They go to Ravens are -3. Here's my problem. Just two things right off the bat. One, I think the Bills bounce back, especially after their offensive coordinator meltdown that everybody saw. So I think they bounce back. The other thing is I have no confidence in that Ravens secondary, none whatsoever. I mean, they got lit up like a Christmas pinball machine in the fourth quarter by Miami 2 weeks ago. They got gassed. They haven't gotten any better. I look for a big game here from the Bills receivers, Stephon Diggs, etc. It's tough going in to Baltimore, no question, but I like the Bills minus the field goal. Nate?
Yeah, I mean, this game just has a lot of injuries, which makes me kind of feel like I don't want to pick it. This is going to be a, no-pick Nate situation here. The Bills, obviously are coming off their first loss of the season, but as many issues as there are, particularly in both secondaries, I just can't see an angle that makes me want to play this game. I mean, I guess you could look maybe to the over, but this isn't a game that I have any interest in playing with as many injuries as both these teams have, particularly on defense. It's just too hard to call.
No pick. What do you think, Jack?
Do not play this game. The Bills' whole secondary is injured. Poyer's not going to play today. They signed Xavier Rhodes, which is like, oh my gosh. This game is impossible to handicap with all these injuries on both sides. If you must play it, if you absolutely must play it, I play the Ravens because the Bills are still dealing with all of these injuries on defense, and they're just going to look like they did last week. But just don't play this game. There's too many injuries, too many question marks. Don't play a game where we don't know anything about the teams.
All right. You're both no pick, injuries or not. I'm going with the Bills because I just think they're going to score. Their offense is fine, and the Ravens have no secondary. That Miami performance was pathetic 2 weeks ago. They've gotten worse, not better. So you guys should bet the over, right? You're over under bettors. You guys should bet the over. I don't do over under. All right, Jags at Eagles. Let's go to Nate. Eagles 6.5-point favorite at home.
I mean, I love the Jaguars, right? If you read my column, Dispatches from a Degenerate, you know that I'm all in on the Jags. I have Trevor Lawrence MVP bets. I have Jags win the AFC South bets. I have Jags Super Bowl bets, and all those bets are looking awesome right now. The Jags are for real. They looked great against the Chargers last week. And I think that they're going to show up against the Eagles. This is a huge game for them. They're going to show that they're a real team. And, maybe after this week we have no more unbeaten NFL teams. I don't love the bet, but I think that the Jags plus 6.5 is probably the way to go here.
Jack?
This is the best game to watch this week. Nate's right. The Jaguars are in the top 10 in every NFL metric and statistic. This team is good. Trevor Lawrence has seemed to have made the jump. He makes better decisions. He makes quicker decisions. This defense is nasty. Philadelphia is rolling. They're an incredible team. Jalen Hurts has so many weapons. If you got to play it, I play the Jags just because I'm the same. I love the Jags. Just statistically, this team is crushing it. But play it or don't play it. Watch this. It's going to be fun. I just think it's going to be closer than 6.5.
Well, listen, I'm going to go counter to you guys. I think this is the sucker bet of the week. Everybody's betting the Jags. Everybody's jumped on a Jags bandwagon. All of a sudden, people are talking about them making the playoffs. Eagles are 3-0. They're the best team in the NFL. San Diego Chargers were really banged up last week. I don't think much of the Colts, so they had a couple wins. Okay, let's see what happens in Philadelphia on the road against a really good team that's scoring a lot of points with a playoff Super Bowl caliber defense. Let's see what happens without the injuries. You know what? I'm going to bet against the public again. This game opened at 5.5 and went to 6.5 almost instantly, as everybody's betting Jacksonville. Let's see what happens. At the end of the day, I think the Eagles are a better team. Maybe 6.5 is too many. Maybe it isn't. We're going to find out. But to me, this is the sucker bet of the week. Everybody's betting the Jazz. I'm going with the Eagles. Okay, Titans at Colts. I'll take this one. Look, I got to tell you guys, I live for these games. I love when the Titans are disrespected, and against, they're mocked, they're trashed on ESPN. It's kind of like my Astros. And then it got all the Colts sycophants and the suck up sports media. They've been drooling over Matt Ryan because he won a game last week. They're drooling over him. Whatever. Talk is cheap. Play the game. Derrick Henry's a man on a mission. The underperforming Titan defense is going to step up. Ryan is going to get sacked more times this week in Indy than a Kroger grocery bag. And I tell you the other thing. I don't like the Colts. I don't like Indianapolis. I don't like their weather. I don't like Frank Reich. Their beer sucks. Mike Pence is a loser. Plus, I bet $250 with Senator Joe Morrissey on this game, and I need some green for the scene. It's all pointing to a Titans win. Now, if I win with Morrissey, I get $250 cash. I don't have to tell Ann about it. So that's my mad money. If I lose, I don't really have any money to pay him. So I just bet double or nothing until I finally win. So that's kind of how that goes. I love the Titans here. Taking the 3.5, I think they're going to win the whole game. I know you guys have a different take. I'll start with Jack.
Yeah, hey, thanks for throwing it to me. The Titans stink. They're so bad. Their defense is one of the worst defenses in the league. Their run defense is horrible. They can't put pressure on anybody, and this is really a troubling fact for Titans fans because their defense was nasty last year. That D-line was so good. They disrupted so much, and this year they're getting run all over the place. They give up 147 yards per game on the ground. Oh, that's great when you're going up against Jonathan Taylor and a run-first Indianapolis. They're going to get pushed around like crazy. Now, Indy hasn't run the ball like they have last year because their offensive line has been struggling, but I expect them to sort of get right in this game and just sort of control the clock and run the ball. This is going to be two teams who look at this game and say, let's run the ball. The Titans have not been run first as much this year. They're 16% running first down. Last year they were 24% running on first down, so they actually are throwing the ball more, which is weird because they don't have A.J. Brown, but okay, fine. I just think they don't feel like they trust Henry as much as they used to. All this is great. I don't have a feel for this. Divisional games like this, I don't really want to bet the spread. I love the under here. You get 43 points, take the under, and see what happens. But I just think both these teams probably run the ball all day long, and maybe they stay out of the end zone. So I'm taking the under.
All right, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just a square, but I agree with you, John. I think this is a good spot for the Titans. I don't understand how you can have the Colts, -3, -3.5, depending on where you're looking. I just don't see it. I think that the Titans win this game outright. I mean, neither team is good, right? They both stink at rushing the ball, even though they want to do that. The Colts are horrible. Matt Ryan looks washed. But the reality is that, the Titans have been, when they let Tannehill throw, he's actually not been too bad. And Mike Vrabel is a monster as an underdog. I just think that this is a game where the Titans just steal this one outright. I mean, I don't see any reason to trust the Colts right now.
The Colts beat the Chiefs last week. I mean, how did they look so bad? They beat the Chiefs. I watched that whole game. Matt Ryan looked great. Dropping back.
It's one game.
In the flats. I mean, come on. Y'all are crazy. The Colts are better than – y'all disrespecting the Colts.
Well, I guess we'll find out at Sunday at 4 o'clock. Jack, you like the under, right? You went with the under. Nate and I went.
Yeah,
with,
I don't like the Colts enough to bet them, but y'all are still disrespecting.
Right. I mean, it's all talk again, all talk, and then you don't bet them. So it's nice. But we're going with the Titans. Jack's going with the under. Under's not a bad bet in this game. I mean, the Titans are not going to put 35 on anybody. It's just not how they play. So I kind of that really isn't that bad of a bet but I don't bet over and under as you know. No interest in it. Okay, let's get to Nate for Dallas. I can't believe. Okay, so the Washington whatevers, they're going to Dallas. They're 0-3, right? Or 1-2. I'm sorry, 1-2. They're going to Dallas. I mean, Dallas has looked really good the last 2 weeks, and Dallas is only a 3-point favorite. When I looked at this line, I said, okay, there's got to be an injury. So I went to the injury report, and I didn't see anything, other than the normal people, no big significant injury for the Cowboys. And I'm thinking, okay, they're at home. Their defense has looked really good the past 2 weeks. Why are they only 3? So, and then you look at this. Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence are going to have a field day against that Washington offensive line, which is the third worst in the NFL. Carson Wentz has been sacked this season like a potato bag. He's been sacked 15 times. And remember, it was the Cowboys that sacked Joey Burrow 6 times in game 2 when they played the Bengals. So I don't know how Wentz gets out of his own way here. I love Dallas at home, given the 3. Nate?
I totally agree with you. I mean, Cooper Rush, has been just fine as a quarterback. He's fine just handing it off and letting the defense do the work, and I can't see that changing. I mean, like you said, Carson Wentz has been getting sacked a ton. He got sacked 9 times last week. He sucks as a divisional underdog. And I don't see any reason why Micah Parsons and the rest of the Dallas defensive line don't sack him a billion times this game. I mean, this just looks like, the type of game where Dallas just controls it with their defense. They keep Wentz in check, and they just cruise to another win. And hopefully Dak is back next week.
Jack?
Yeah, I like the Cowboys too. I mean, they just look so good on Monday night. Their defensive line is really incredible. And this is also a Washington stinks take. I mean, they've been burning me for 3 weeks. So I'm so tired of Washington because I keep picking them because they're supposed to have this explosive offense with all these playmakers, and Carson Wentz just has to drop back and get a little bit of protection, and then they score points, and they don't. I take them every week, and they lose. They make me look like an idiot. So I'm tired of betting them. I'm just going to go with the Cowboys just because I decided that I hate Washington in the middle of the sentence.
All right, all of us like Dallas in this game. Let's move on to Jets, Jets, Jets at Steelers. Steelers minus 3.5. I'm going to throw it to one of you guys. I have no pick in this game. Either of you guys want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll start it off. I mean, Zach Wilson's back, right? So
Yeah.
we have no more Joe Flacco for this game. Zach Wilson's returning. But Zach Wilson kind of sucked last year. I mean, he was not good as a rookie, right? And he didn't play the preseason this year. So really, this is a game where we have no idea what we're looking at, right? Is he even that much better than Joe Flacco? It's kind of hard to say at this point. Joe Flacco has not looked terrible as a Jet, which is kind of impressive. New York is probably going to face a tough trip to the Steelers. This is a weird game. It's a game that I don't really want to watch. It's a game that I don't have much interest in betting. But Pittsburgh's a tough place to play. It's a tough place for Zach Wilson to, just kind of dive back into the action. If I had to play it, if I, really was pressed, I think the Steelers are probably the right play, even though they haven't played very well without T.J. Watt on their defensive line. I guess the Steelers, but, there's so many unknowns. It's just so hard to say what Zach Wilson is going to look like this season.
So are you picking the Steelers or no pick?
Steelers, I guess.
Jack?
I'll just say no pick really quickly because the Jets with Zach Wilson, we have a question mark. I don't like picking games where we have a question mark. I need to see what Zach Wilson looks like for probably 2 or 3 weeks before I pick the Jets, so pass.
I don't like the Jets. I don't think they're any good. I can't lay 3.5 on Pittsburgh. I don't care if they're playing Alabama. I just can't lay 3.5 on this team. They don't score. So I'm going to avoid this game. No pick. Guys, I tell you what, you need to follow us on Godzilla Wins. Go to GodzillaWins.com. All of our picks are there. We got great content up. You got Nate's column. His college pick 6 today is fantastic. Follow us on Getter, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Godzilla Wins. That's all you got to do. It's all at Godzilla Wins. And follow all of our picks on GodzillaWins.com, or you can subscribe to us on Substack. And, of course, my column will be out a little bit later on today as we go through these picks. And also, this show can also be heard before the Steelers game on Sunday at 10 a.m., just 10 to 11 a.m., just before the Steelers pregame show. If you've missed anything, you can tune us in again. We're also on podcasted on your favorite podcast platform, so it's all good. One more, and then we'll get to a commercial break. San Diego. Why do I keep saying San Diego, right? My age again. Chargers going to Texas, going to the Texans. Jack, I know you've kind of been on the Texans. I'm going to start with you here. Texans a 5.5 underdog at home. Chargers, after getting really thrashed last week by Jacksonville, now going to Houston, and they're a 5.5-point favorite. Jack, what do you see?
Okay, so I watched the Houston game last week, and they didn't look very good. And so now I'm on the Jaguars. Basically, my whole plan this season with the AFC South is just find a team that's not the Titans and talk about how amazing they are to make you mad. So I'm kind of off the Texans now because they didn't cover last week, so they made me mad. I don't think they covered. And they just didn't look very good. And they lose like every game. And so I just keep expecting something else that I'm not getting. Their defense is like horrible, and their offense is really bad, and I don't think their special teams is necessarily very good. But, 5.5 points, I don't know. That feels like a lot of points. Chargers, still ailing from those injuries. No Joey Bosa in Houston. The stadium, wherever they play, I forget what it's called. It's going to be rocking. Lovie Smith. Let's go with Houston. I'll take Houston. Give me the 5.5.
Nate?
Yeah, I don't know. The Texans have at times looked like a pretty game team, they've looked like, they want to show up at times, but there's so many injuries. This isn't a pick for me just because the Chargers are so banged up. It's not just Herbert, it's the offensive line. They have receivers out, they have secondary guys out, they have Joey Bosa out. I just don't know how you bet this Chargers team. They looked terrible against Jacksonville, and the optimist in me wants me to think, Jacksonville's just a really good team. But the reality is that the Chargers weren't at full strength for that game. I think that this is definitely a pass for me. I don't see.
Okay, it's a pass. That's fine. No pick. I love the Bolts. I know they're hurt, but here's the thing: they've had the most difficult schedule in the NFL in the first 3 games. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. They have to play Vegas. They have to play Kansas City. Then obviously you guys think Jacksonville's an improving team. Even with the injuries, they're just a much better team than Houston. It's also a must-win game for them. I like betting good teams in must-win games in the NFL early because they bring all the emotion. They bring everything they have. I like the Chargers in this game minus the 5.5. Let's go to a quick word from our sponsors. When I get back, we got Giants, we got Lions, we got the Sunday night game, we got the Monday night game, we got the Atlanta Clown Show, all coming up. Keep it right here on the John Fredericks Media Network. Godzilla Wins. Go to GodzillaWins.com. We'll be right back. Smooth Al running the board.
Not sure what to do? Here's a tip for you. Go to GodzillaWins.com. That's GodzillaWins.com. Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
For entertainment purposes only.
We're back in. Jack, let's get right to it. We got to roll here. Bears at Giants. Bears minus 2 Giants minus 2.5. What do you see?
The Giants have done me some solids this year because they covered when I needed them to, then they didn't cover when I didn't need them to. So I love the Giants here minus 2.5, mostly because the Bears have a horrible run defense. They give up 157 yards per game on the run, and they're not exactly that effective with the offense either. I think Saquon Barkley goes ham in this game. The Bears' defensive line is not like the Cowboys. Daniel Jones will have more time to make his stupid throws. So I'm just going Giants minus 2.5. Give me that all day.
Nate?
Yeah, I disagree. I think that the Bears' defense hasn't been that bad, and the one thing they're really good at has been running the ball on offense. Giants are terrible against the run. I see it the opposite way. I think the Bears get here. I think the wrong team is favored. I don't love this game. Don't bet a ton on it, but I think the Bears would play plus 2.5.
I like the Giants at home here going 3-1. The problem with the Bears is, and I said this at the beginning of the season, Justin Fields is simply not an NFL quarterback. And what's making matters worse now is the Bears' offensive coordinator, their whole offensive coaching staff has so little confidence, they won't let the guy throw the ball. You can't win in the NFL that way. I'm not a Daniel Jones fan. I don't really think the Giants are that good, but I think the Bears are worse. I'm going to lay the 2.5. I like the Giants at home. Seahawks go to the Lions. I'm on the Lions bandwagon, guys. Done. I'm betting them every game through Thanksgiving. They're a 3-point favorite here at home. I don't like this. These are two teams going to oppo directions, right? Seahawks, they're in a rebuild. Geno Smith, he had his day in the sun. He's done. That's the end of that. But look, the Lions, if they win this game, they're 2-2 and actually in the hunt. I love what Dan Campbell is doing. I love Goff. I love the spirit of this team, the spunk at home. I love the Lions minus the 3. Seahawks are done. They're just going to play the string out this season. Lions are a very motivated team. I like the Lions minus the 3. Nate?
Yeah, I think this line just stinks to me. Everyone loves the Lions, like you love the Lions. But the reality is the Seahawks aren't that terrible. And the reality is the Lions have a fun offense, but they just don't have a good defense. I think that this game probably goes over. That would probably be my preferred play. If you have to take the points, take Seattle, but play the over in this game. Both teams should score.
Jack, what do you think? What's your pick?
Seattle. Detroit wins every game by 2-3 points, and they just don't blow anybody out. So like 3.5. I'm just I think you win by the hook. I think I think Seattle kind of backdoor covers, and I don't think the Lions are gonna lose the game, but they don't beat anyone by a million because, like Nate said, their defense is horrible. So I go with Seattle just because I think you win by the hook.
All right, I like the Lions. DraftKings today, and by today's lines, they had a -3, so that's what we're gonna go with. But look, we'll see what happens. One team is just going nowhere. It's a rebuild year. Everybody knows it. They got a lot of issues. The Lions, I think, have a lot to play for. They win this game, they're 2-2 and in the hunt. So that's why I love the Lions here. Okay, Cards at Cats.
Hold on. When did you look at the line? I'm looking at 3.5 on DraftKings.
I looked at it today at 8 a.m. That means it went up.
It moved.
Yeah.
So all the money's on the Lions.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, money's on the Lions. Just like what was the other team I said moved? Jacksonville, right? Let's get to Cards at Cats. Look, guys, I'm sorry, I can't bet this Baker Mayfield. I don't think he's going to be in the league next year. He's pathetic. Trying to watch this guy run a drive, I can't stand Carolina's coach. I don't like the team. I don't like anything about him. I think they're underperformers. Matt Rule next year is going to be coaching at a lower D1 college, like Massachusetts or something. I think he's horrible. Look, I'm not a Cards fan. Everybody knows that. They simply have a better quarterback than Mayfield. Cards go to Carolina, win this game. Cats are a 1-point underdog. I'm going to lay the one with the Cards. Nate?
Yeah, I like the Cards here too. I see +1 at DraftKings right now, and I don't understand how you could possibly make the Panthers a favorite. Matt Rule is terrible. He will not make it through the end of the season. Baker Mayfield has not been good. I just think that this is a good spot for the Cardinals to get going. They blitz a ton. Baker has been awful against the blitz. This just looks like a good spot for the Cardinals and a bad spot for the Panthers, and a bad spot for Matt Rule and Baker.
What do you see, Jack?
Every website or metric has the Cardinals as the worst defense in the league. I mean, you just look it up. It's just they're 32nd everywhere you go. So I like the over just because I think Arizona can't stop anyone because their defense is so bad. I know Carolina's offense isn't exactly great, but they should score enough points to push the over at 43.5 over that mark. And Arizona, is going to score with Kyler Murray. Might be in the fourth quarter, but at some point they're going to put up points. So I like the 43.5 here. Play the over. The Cardinals' defense is horrible.
Hey, that might not be a bad play, and their defense is horrible. But I just this Carolina team. I was actually high on them at the beginning of the season because I thought they get McCaffrey back. They're solid, and I thought Mayfield would be, better than he just looked horrible. I mean, and NFL, if you don't have a quarterback, you're simply not going to win. I mean, that's just it's like pitching in baseball, right? You've got a mediocre starter, and the Rays only went so far with those openers. That fat's gone. You got to have starting pitchers to win games. You got to have a starter. I don't like Mayfield. I don't like the direction the Shaw team is going. I don't like their head coach. So as much as I don't like the Cardinals, I'm going to go with them. Okay, let's get the Broncos Raiders. I'm going to start this off. The Raiders are better than an 0-4 team. If they lose this game, they're 0-4. They're better than that. And desperation, guys, is a real emotion in the NFL. And emotion plays such a big part of football. That's why at the end of the season, I'm always up big. because as the season starts running out, you start seeing these games, teams come in flat all the time. You bet the other team. Desperation is a huge motivator in the NFL. I love Vegas to bounce back. Truth be told, you wouldn't be shocked in these 3 games if the Raiders were 3-0 or they were 2-1 or 1-2. But they lose this game, their season's over. And the Broncos are, I know their defense is excellent. They had one legitimate drive in that San Francisco game, happened to be at the end to win it. That's all they had. I love the Raiders to win at home and get back on the winning track. Minus the 2.5. Jack?
I'm off the Raiders because they burned me for 3 weeks. I've been picking them because I'm like, when are they going to show up and win a game? And they can't cover anything, and they're always favored. So just give me the Broncos because the Raiders keep making me mad.
All right, Jack likes Denver plus 2.5. Nate?
I agree with Jack. I mean, both these teams look like they just hate to win. They actively look like they're trying to lose at times. And the reality is that Denver's defense is pretty good. And until Vegas can show me something, I think you just have to pass on them when they're a favorite. The Broncos are the play here.
All right, you guys like the Broncos. I like the Raiders. One of us is going to win. It's 2.5. It can't be a tie. All right, my best bet number 1 of the week. Patriots go to Green Bay. They go to Lambeau. Mac Jones is out. Blowout. I don't even have to get into the Patriots have no offense with Mac Jones. Now you're putting in somebody I never heard of. He's got several days to learn Belichick's game plan. This is a Green Bay blowout laugher. 9.5. The Pack's 9.5-point favorite. I would lay 15. I love the Pack in this game. It's my best bet, number 1. Lay the 9.5. New England can't score any points. So basically, if you score 3 touchdowns, you win the game. I think Aaron Rodgers does that. I love the Pack minus 9.5. Nate?
Absolutely disagree. Patriots are the play here. And it's just for one reason. Brian Hoyer is not going to be tasked with a lot starting for the Patriots, and what they're going to do is they're just going to run the ball a zillion times. They have the best rushing offense in the league. They're the best at rushing it, and Green Bay has the worst rushing defense. This is a perfect Bill Belichick script. Hang tight, maybe sneak out an upset. I mean, Bill Belichick is great as an underdog. I think the Patriots just find a way here and just run the ball until Green Bay's exhausted and hang tight with them.
Yeah, they're going to put 8 in the box, dude. I mean, they got. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, you're gonna win this game with Hoyer. All right, that's your pick. Pats plus 9.5. Jack?
I love this game. This game is awesome. First things first. The line moved back to 9. So it was at 9.5 when Dad looked at it at 8. I'm looking at it right now. It's at 9. That means a lot of money is going on New England. Here's another thing I love about this game. This is why Nate's analysis is spot on. The over-under is 40. You never see that. 42, 43, unless the two teams stink, like the Bears-Giants is at 39.5. I think that moved too. But 40 is low. So the Vegas doesn't think anyone's going to score here, or they're trying to entice bettors to bet the over. So they just don't think anyone's going to score. 9 points is crazy. This is the Patriots. I don't care who's playing quarterback. It's October. The Patriots always get better. October, November, December, it doesn't matter who's back there fielding snaps. Yeah, it's nice to have TB12, but I saw Matt Castle win like 13 games with the Patriots too. Their defense is going to improve. That team improves every week. That's what they do. They don't get blown out. They just don't get blown out. And then here's the other thing. When you're betting the Packers, you have to bet based on Aaron Rodgers' emotional complex. So if he's playing a team he hates, like the Bears or the Vikings, and he's all fired up because he thinks that, they stink, then he wins by 30. But when he's playing a team he doesn't care about, doesn't respect, I doubt he respects Brian Hoyer, he's just going to mail it in. The Packers don't have a ton of weapons on that side of the ball. I think Nate's right. The Patriots hand it off a million times to make sure that Brian Hoyer doesn't make a bunch of mistakes. The only way the Packers cover this is if the turnover margin is like +3 for the Packers, which I don't think it's going to be. So take the 9 points. This is a gift. This is a gift in Green Bay. You are going to the Patriots are going to cover. This is an easy bet for me.
All right, I got two things to say. Either you guys are both drunk or high this morning, or Jack just got a new tattoo, his first tattoo. You know, when you get a tattoo the first time, sometimes it takes, it kind of, you get a little woozy. I think that might be into it, Jack. I think your tattoos have an effect here on your judgment. By the way, nice tat. And if people don't know this, none of the boys in this family ever had a tattoo. Jack's in his 30s, 32. I'm 64. Joe's 18. Claire, our sister, different story. She's into body art big time. But now, like, Joe got one, I got another one, Joe got another one, and now Jack got a tattoo. Of course, Nate is no stranger to the body tattoo. Having said that, you guys are nuts, right? This thing is going to be a blowout. I'm going to be laughing my ass off at about 5 o'clock on Sunday. Okay, let's get to Jack. By the way, great tat. Let's get to Chiefs at Bucks. Chiefs going into Tampa Bay. I've been all over Tampa Bay. I love Tampa. I love their defense. But guys, the injuries it's tough to bet against them. As bad, and you guys got to admit this, as bad as Tampa played last week, right? They were 1 second from a delay of game call to go into overtime. Because if Brady gets that play off, they're going to get the 2-point conversion and go to overtime. If they get the toss, they win. So as bad as Tampa looked last week, they should have won that game or could have won that game. On the other hand, the Chiefs just got beat. Are they going to go into Tampa? I mean, are the Chiefs a 500 team? Because that's what happens if they get beat. This is a tough game, but I don't know, guys. I'm going to I changed my mind on this several times, but Tampa's got so many injuries, and their secondary also, I mean, they're picking up people at the bar trying to sign them up on the practice squad. I got to go with Mahomes. Bucks are -1 at home. I'm going to go with the dog. I'm going to take the one with the Chiefs. Nate?
Yeah, this is no pick for me. I mean, the Buccaneers just have so many injuries right now. I mean, I don't even know how they're going to field an offensive line. I can't imagine that the practice was awesome this week, given that Hurricane Ian just ripped through Florida. The game's been back and forth. They thought it was going to be in Minnesota. They thought it was going to be in Florida. Now it looks like it's going to be in Tampa now that the hurricane has passed through. There's just too many unknowns for me. This is no play for me.
Jack, what do you think?
I'm so tired of watching Tampa Bay in these primetime games. Can we just have another team play a primetime game that's not Tampa Bay? I'm not asking for the Giants and the Bears, but just some team that's not Tom Brady that we can watch, because this team is boring because their defense is so good and all their offense is hurt, and Tom Brady just throws little dinky passes to Cole Beasley right now and tries to win a game 13-12. I don't want to watch the Buccaneers play football anymore in primetime. And not only that, Nate and I have a fairly sizable bet on the Falcons to win the NFC South at 20-1. We don't recommend that you hop on that train, but I'll tell you what, I don't think the Bucs are very good because even though they have an amazing defense, they're injured all the time, and Tom Brady looks pedestrian. The Panthers look bad, and the Saints are not going to win a lot of games. So maybe the Falcons can, get in there. 20-1, good odds. Look, Tampa Bay, I don't want anything to do with them. The Chiefs, they're going to come back. They don't lose 2 games in a row, not with Mahomes. Even with that defense, I think the Chiefs probably win this game. I love getting a point, but I'm not going to watch it. Or maybe I will. I don't know. There's nothing else going on at 6:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Eastern Time. But I just don't want – I'm so tired of Tampa Bay. I just don't want to watch them. And then we just Tom Brady constantly. It's all we got to talk about. Tom Brady, and Cole Beasley and Mike Evans. This is, us. Just forget it. Just give me the Chiefs. Maybe we can, maybe they'll win. I don't know. I just wish they would play a noon game.
Cole Beasley.
Yeah. And
So
Jack, you bring up a good point that we didn't cover the Falcons and Browns yet. We should
We're going to go to that now. We're going to go to that now. I was saving that to the end because I know it's my teaser game because I know everybody's on pins and needles to hear what Jack has to say. But let's finish Chiefs Bucks. So I like the Chiefs. Jack likes the Chiefs. Nate No pick?
No pick.
All right. Let's go to Jack's favorite team, the Atlanta Clown Show. Cleveland going to Atlanta. Atlanta is a 1-point underdog. Cleveland -1. Jack, you've been all over the Falcons. They're 3-0. Here's interesting. They're 0-3 and 3-0 against the spread, right? So if you bet them every week, you got 3 wins, although they haven't won a game. Jack, you've been on the Clown Show here from week 1. You text me every time they cover, tell me how stupid I am for betting the other team, because I've been against them all 3 weeks. That's one of the reasons I'm losing. What do you see, Jack? Can the Clown Show win a game?
Okay, so first of all, the Falcons are 1-2. They won last week, so put some respect on Atlanta. They are 3-0 against the spread, so they are covering. This is a tough one for me because I've also been wandering around my house muttering to nobody that Jacoby Brissett is good. So, I don't have anyone at my house, and I just keep telling the walls that Jacoby Brissett is really good. So this is a hard one because I love Brissett, but I got to go with the Falcons. You get a point at home. This defense is good. Cordarrelle Patterson can run the football. So this offensive line can move. The defense does a tremendous job through most of the game until they sort of fall apart at the end, which is fine. And the biggest problem, I said this last week, Marcus Mariota makes this one dumb decision in the fourth quarter, and that has cost them some games. They could be 3-0. We love them at 20-1 to win the NFC South. We love the Falcons. We're rolling with them all season. Keep covering, baby. In Atlanta, give me the point.
1 point. Nate?
We're all huge Falcons fans here. I, too, am on them at 20-1 to win the NFC South. Me and Jack made that bet together. That's what best friends do. And the reality is Atlanta's been pretty good. I mean, God, they've been game with everybody this far in the year. And, and everyone else in the NFC South looks like they suck. But, this is the Browns. This isn't a divisional game. I worry about the Falcons in this particular spot just because I think that the Browns are going to run the ball really effectively against them. Their run defense has not been great. So I don't have a pick on the side. I can't see the game clearly because I love the Falcons so much right now. Take the over in this game if you want to bet it. It looks like it's about 49.5 everywhere that you could go. I think that's the play. 47.5 right now. So yeah. I think the over is probably the play, but go Falcons.
I already bet the Browns -1. I guess you guys probably figured that out. I just don't like the Atlanta team. And I'm kind of like with Jack. I mean, I'm just going to sit back and wait for Mariota the Maestro to throw a pick in the last 2 minutes on the Browns' 5-yard line when they're down by 5. I mean, he did it with Tennessee over and over and over. He's going to do it again with Atlanta. He did it the first 3 weeks. That's what he does. It's just the guy's a choke job. He's a choke job. He choked for us. I'm not a fan of the guy. And look, Jacoby Brissett. Is he an all-pro? No. I think he's playing better than people expected. The Browns defense on paper, they should be one of the best in the NFL when they're healthy. And they're going to pound the ball. They're going to run the football. I don't like the Dirty Birds run defense. I'm going with the Browns -1. Okay, so that brings us to the Monday night game, which is my second best bet of the week. I'm going to start this off with Jack here, and this is where L.A. goes up the coast to the Niners, and San Francisco was a 2.5-point favorite over the Rams. Jack, I know you're kind of a Niners fan. You've followed them for some time. Jimmy Jesus looked absolutely pathetic last week. I couldn't believe that game. I could not believe the fact that San Francisco could not move the ball. And I know the Broncos' defense is good, but that was just a pitiful performance last week by San Francisco. Rams are a 2.5-point underdog going to San Francisco. I'll start with Jack.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think the wrong team's favored here, but the Rams haven't looked like the Super Bowl champions of last year. 2 points is a lot to give on a Monday night in a division game. yes, the 49ers have a nasty defense. They really do. I mean, they really do. And the Broncos have a nasty defense. That's why they lost the game 11-10. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's Jimmy Garoppolo. Sometimes they're going to score 35 points. Sometimes they're going to score 7. I don't feel like laying 2 points to pray that Jimmy Jesus can figure out how to throw the ball downfield against the Rams' front 7, putting pressure on him all day. I don't think they're going to be able to establish the run. I like the Rams, but the Rams don't cover a lot.
Okay,
so,
we got about a half a minute. What's your pick?
Rams +2.
Rams +2.5. Nate?
Take the Rams +2. These games are always close in the NFC West. Take the points. Rams are better team.
Rams are my second best bet of the week. That San Francisco offense, they're just going nowhere. I love the Rams to win this game. That's going to be it here, guys, for Godzilla Wins. I want to thank you for being with us. Now, don't forget, there's so many ways to follow us. Go to GodzillaWins.com. Go to GodzillaWins.com. Also, follow us at Godzilla Wins on Getter, on Facebook, on Instagram.